Hey everyone, it's William Moore. You're watching Beyond the Tides of Buying. Thanks for joining me. I hope everybody's having a great day. The question everyone is asking right now.
Hey, where's the beef?
So, you had a cyber attack over the weekend on JBS, the world's largest meat processing plant, or actually company. Now, production has resumed, but the experts say that the vulnerabilities exposed by this attack and others are far from being resolved. Now, don't you think it's coincidental? It's just a coinky-dink that you had a cyber attack on a pipeline a few weeks ago, which caused gas prices to skyrocket. Of course, they settled that, paid a ransom in Bitcoin to these hackers, and now we have one that disrupts, probably something that almost every American household buys in large quantities, and it might even be the second or third staple that people buy next to fuel. And so don't you find it rather strange that, first it's fuel and now it's meat. These ransoms are being paid in Bitcoin. These hackers want it to be paid in Bitcoin. This is supposedly a Russian group. I guess the CIA is now, operating as a Russian cyber gang. But I feel that this is all staged, that, our government is behind this 100%, because what they want to do is they want to come after Bitcoin. They want to put the squeeze on Bitcoin, and that's what they're doing. A couple of weeks ago, I believe it was Janet Yellen came out and said that any transaction of Bitcoin over $10,000 is going to be traced. And then they're going to do the same now. Then they're going to crack down on Bitcoin even harder. Now, what's going to happen? You imagine a bathtub full of water. Now, that bathtub, that water represents the money that people have invested in Bitcoin. You pull the plug, all that money disappears. Now, while it may have disappeared from the bathtub, that money went somewhere, and it's going into somebody's pocket. People who have been investing in Bitcoin, I believe, are about to lose a lot of money, and it's going to happen quickly as the government continues to crack down on these cryptocurrencies. I think that this could have been all a scheme from the beginning to create something that people would invest their money in, and that looks like it's an alternative to the stock market. And the same thing that can happen in the stock market can happen here. You pull the plug, the money disappears, it's all gone. People have lost thousands, hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars overnight, just like in the stock market. Now, people say that Bitcoin is a decentralized platform. That really is a bunch of BS, because you need to take fiat money to buy into Bitcoin, and then in order to be able to spend that Bitcoin, you need to be able to, convert the Bitcoin back into a fiat currency. So it's still reliant upon a fiat currency. And this is just my 2 cents. I was looking into buying Bitcoin, getting into the crypto market a few weeks back, well, maybe a couple months ago. And the more that I looked into it, the more that I researched, I found out that it was not for me. Because what you're going to have anyway, without the IRS crackdown, without the Federal Reserve cracking down on Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, is you're going to have nations now coming into the digital currency game. China has done it. Other nations are looking at developing a digital currency. The Federal Reserve has had a digital currency that they have not brought online, but they've had this digital currency for years now, and they're just waiting to make it operational. Once it's operational, and once all these nations start getting into it, all these other decentralized platforms, supposedly decentralized platforms, cryptocurrencies, they're going to start to devalue. And they'll probably be devalued even more so with the governments coming after these currencies. And, this could have been a scam from the beginning, like I stated, to get people to invest in something that looked like an alternative, that looked like it was going to make a lot of money. I believe that everybody who was going to invest in these cryptocurrencies has invested. I don't think there's a lot more people that are going to get into this market. I think that most of the people who have gotten into the market are there. And I think that what we're going to see over the course of this summer, as we're going to see high inflation, we're going to see a market crash, and we could see a crypto crash as well, and we'll probably see gold and silver break out of the suppression that they've been in. And now, even gold and silver, though, are controlled and being suppressed by these international bankers. So the best thing for you to invest in, and I do believe that gold and silver are good investments, but the best thing to invest in is food, and then, of course, lead and brass. I believe that lead and brass will probably be the most precious metals that one could possess here shortly. Now, this situation with the cyber attack on the pipeline, with the cyber attack on the meat processing, I believe that this JBS actually does most of the processing for Purdue, which processes chicken. You're going to have chicken, beef. All of this is going to be interrupted. Chicken's probably the most purchased meat there is out there. And you're going to see inflation. You're going to see some inflationary trends. But all of this is being done by the government, and they're getting away with it. These are just false flags, and the American people keep falling for this. They keep listening to the mainstream media, buying what the mainstream media is saying. When has the mainstream media ever been upfront with anyone? The mainstream media is never upfront with anyone, and the mainstream media is just part of the fourth establishment of the government, and the government always lies. Gulf of Tonkin, 9/11, the current distress we're in with this so-called virus, and more on that in another program. But you have the situation where, Americans are going to have to either stand up and grow a set, or you're looking at some very hard times ahead. The apathy that most Americans have, adopted in their life. All they're worried about is going to their kids' soccer games, basketball games, baseball games, and, listening to the news media and really not caring about anything that the government is doing. That type of apathy, which has led to a massive amount of taxation, and taxation is theft. But that type of apathy, when you're not, first of all, nobody anymore is really concerned about the word of Eloheinu, the Eternal One, and his commandments. So that's why a lot of this is happening, because people don't know how to judge right from wrong. And all of this going on, they become apathetic. They just don't care anymore, because they don't care about what's right and what's wrong. So this is what's coming. This is the punishment unless America has an attitude adjustment and, a proverbial kick in the backside where people quit being so apathetic. I mean, if people do not quit being apathetic soon, everything is going to collapse around everyone, and you're not going to have anything. So quit worrying about junior soccer game, basketball game, baseball game, whatever game. Quit worrying so much about, what you have to do in life, as far as your work and your social status, and start to get involved and start to take down this apparatus which is known as government. Or I guarantee within a few months, maybe a year, tops 2 years, you're going to wake up with absolutely nothing one day, unless people start standing up to this evil apparatus known as government. And that's really all I have to say. These cyber attacks, these are planned. This is CIA. This has CIA written all over it. And it's just, a way to squeeze more money out of people. It's a way to raise prices. It's a way to instill fear. What's going to be next? You know, and that's what government does. They have to create an endless supply of hobgoblins to keep people continually scared and continually looking for someone to save them. And of course, you know, it's problem, reaction, solution, and the government creates the problem, the people react, and then the government comes along with a solution, which always entails less freedom. So anyway, this is William Moore. I wanted to keep this as short as possible, but think about these things. And you people invested in Bitcoin, do a little bit of research. Think about getting your money out of that. And, you know, like I stated, invest in food. Invest in some smart things and invest in lead and brass. Because I guarantee if people don't wake up and everything starts collapsing around you, you're going to need lead and brass every day just to survive. Again, this is William Moore for Beyond the Tides of Buying. Hope that everyone has a great day, and I'll see you next time. Until then, Shalom Ve Barakah, which in Hebrew means peace and blessings.